Hello everyone. We will continue to look at equations of motions for different systems, and the last system we look at is that of an inclined plane. Now we look at the motion of a body on an inclined plane, and we already know what is an inclined plane. It is nothing but a plank or a surface placed at some angle with the vertical. So if I take an example of an inclined plane, in this module I'm going to take a look at this portion of a roller coaster. As you can see very clearly, it resembles an inclined plane because you have this inclined surface at some angle to the horizontal, and therefore this is just like an inclined plane. And the question I'm going to ask is, if I have an object placed on an inclined plane, in this case it is these people on the ride, then in such a case what is the acceleration of the object as it falls down this inclined plane? Of course, it's not a very apt or technically accurate example because actually I'm going to come down with some force, but in our example I'm going to assume there is no applied force. I'm merely asking you what is the acceleration of a body placed on an inclined plane under the action of gravity and friction. So if I try to find out the equations of motion, I will look at this picture and draw my inclined plane from this. And then I'm going to study this same example considering this whole thing as one single body of mass m. And then I look at what are the things that have been given to me. That is, I know that there is a body of mass m placed on an inclined plane. I have been given that the height of this inclined plane is small h, and I have been given that the angle of inclination, which is the angle of the inclined plane with the horizontal, is given to be theta. So now let's begin drawing the free body diagram of this mass m, which will help me write down the equations of motion for this system. The first thing, of course, I'm going to draw is the weight of this body, and that is nothing but mg. Now I know that weight always acts in the downward direction. But the most important hint I can give you is that whenever an object is placed on an inclined plane, you must resolve the weight into two perpendicular components, and not just any two perpendicular components. You must resolve it into two components, one which is parallel to the plane and one which is perpendicular to the plane. So let's do it. The first thing you need to do this is to understand that if I try to draw a component perpendicular to the plane, it will look something like this. So this is the component of the weight perpendicular to the plane. But see very quickly, what is this angle that I have marked here? This angle is also theta. And how did I get that to be theta? Well, I have been given that this angle is theta. So if I draw this complete triangle, then I can see that if that is theta, then this is going to be 90 because I dropped a perpendicular, and that makes this angle as 90 minus theta. That is, this angle will be 90 minus theta. And if this angle is 90 minus theta, then this angle is 90 minus theta, and therefore this angle becomes theta. That is, the angle in question becomes theta. So it's simple algebra. You can do it yourself, and you will see that if this angle is given to be theta, then this angle also comes out to be theta. The point to note is I have resolved this weight mg in the direction perpendicular to the plane, and I have called this as mg cos theta, and therefore this is the component of the weight perpendicular to the plane. Similarly, I can have a component parallel to the plane, and that is going to be mg sine theta, because if I draw this triangle completely, it's the opposite side, and therefore this is mg sine theta, or the component of the weight parallel to the plane. So I have resolved the weight into two perpendicular components, one perpendicular to the plane and the other parallel to the plane. The next force that I have to draw acting on my object is nothing but the normal reaction. And I know that normal reaction is always perpendicular to the surface, and therefore it is acting in this direction. That is, if I draw this backwards, I can see that it is perpendicular. So I have normal reaction perpendicular to the surface. Finally, I say that since this block has a tendency to fall downwards, the force of friction will act opposite to that, and therefore this force of friction, because of these two surfaces, acts in this direction, that is opposite to the tendency of motion. So this completes my free body diagram. Take a look at all the forces. I have drawn this diagram, and now using this diagram I'm going to write down the equations of motion. To do this, I'm going to save it and I'm going to place it on the left side. So this is what is going to be useful to us. Once I have this diagram, now I can quickly write down Newton's laws. And from Newton's second law, first I take a look at the direction parallel to the plane. So if I take a look at this direction, which is the direction parallel to the plane, I say, look, mg sine theta helps the block in motion, F opposes the block, and therefore I write helping motion minus opposing motion is equal to ma, or if you like to say, I say left minus right is equal to ma. But I know that F is nothing but mu s n because that is the formula for static friction. Now you might ask, why am I using the formula for the maximum value? I'm using the formula for the maximum value because I'm looking at the case when this block is actually moving downwards, which means it is the maximum case of static friction, right? Because the block is moving, that means I have already overcome the maximum value of static friction. So I can write F is equal to mu s n, and therefore I replace F with this mu s n in this equation. So that becomes mg sine theta minus mu s n is equal to ma, and if I rearrange, then I get mg sine theta is equal to mu s n plus ma. So this is the first equation that I'm going to keep aside. Now I'm going to take a look at the direction perpendicular to the plane. If I take a look at the direction perpendicular to the plane, then I have n minus mg cos theta is equal to ma. N is on top, mg cos theta is down, so I write n minus mg cos theta is equal to ma, but this should be equal to 0 because there is no motion in this direction, and if there is no motion in this direction means there is no acceleration, and therefore actually it's an equation of equilibrium, that is n and mg cos theta must be balancing each other, and therefore actually I have the answer that n must be equal to mg cos theta, and this again is something I'm going to need. Now it's pretty straightforward. I have this equation and I have this equation. What am I going to do? I'm going to substitute this n is equal to mg cos theta into this equation. So I write mg sine theta is equal to mu s, but instead of this n, I'm now going to take this value of n and I'm going to place it here, and then I continue writing the rest of the equation, that is plus ma. So I have mg sine theta is equal to mu s mg cos theta plus ma. Now recall what was my question. I asked you about the acceleration. So I'm going to rearrange and solve this for acceleration, and I get the answer that a is equal to g sine theta minus mu s cos theta. Of course I have cancelled the m in all these three, and I get the answer that the acceleration of a body on an inclined plane under the action of gravity and friction is a is equal to g sine theta minus mu s cos theta, and therefore this ride will go down with an acceleration of g sine theta minus mu s cos theta. I hope you understood this derivation. Now I can use this derivation to solve a very simple sum. That is, I have a block of mass m, and this block is projected up an inclined plane. Please be very careful. I am projecting this block up an inclined plane, and we'll see how that matters. The inclined plane has an inclination theta with an initial velocity u. So the block is given an initial velocity u. The coefficient of kinetic friction between the block and the plane is mu. What is the distance up to which the block will rise up the plane before coming to rest? Okay, so let's start. I have been given an inclined plane, and I have been told that there is a mass m, that is a block of mass m placed on this inclined plane of inclination theta, and this block has been given an initial velocity u. Okay, so this is the known facts. These are the known facts. The next thing I'm also told is that I have the coefficient of kinetic friction as mu, and we have been asked what is the distance up to which the block will rise up the plane before coming to rest. So quickly let's draw a free body diagram. I have the weight acting downwards mg, and as before, if this is theta, then this is also theta, and I'm going to resolve the weight into two components. One is mg cos theta perpendicular to the plane, one is mg sine theta parallel to the plane. But take a look at what is different in this sum. I have the normal reaction capital R as always, but the frictional force is acting downwards. And why is that? Because in this case you are pushing the block up. So if you are pushing it up, means the motion is in the upward direction, which means the frictional force must be opposite to that, that is in the downward direction. Also, this is kinetic friction acting in this case because the block is in motion. You are pushing it. So the block is in motion and it's kinetic friction that you are considering. Okay, so friction is in the downward direction and acceleration is upwards because ultimately the block is moving up, that is, has been projected up. Okay, let's write down the equations that we need. So I have mg sine theta plus f is equal to ma. This is because mg sine theta and f both are in the same direction, so they get added, and there is no other force acting in this direction, and therefore mg sine theta plus f is equal to ma. If I take a look at the vertical side, then I have n and mg cos theta balancing each other because there is no motion in this direction. So simply I write n is equal to mg cos theta. I come back to the first equation and I say that f is nothing but mu n, which is nothing but mu mg cos theta because n is mg cos theta, and therefore I replace f with this mu mg cos theta. So this f is removed and I write down mu mg cos theta, and this gives me the answer for the downward acceleration from here. I cancel out the m's and I get the answer for the downward acceleration as a is equal to g sine theta plus mu cos theta. Remember, we got a plus because in this case I have pushed the block up. But the question is not what is the acceleration, the question is what is the distance up to which the block will rise up the plane before coming to rest. And if I say that I am talking about it coming to rest, it means that my final velocity, which is v, should be equal to 0. And using this information, I can use the third equation of motion, that is v square is equal to u square plus 2as, but v should be 0 because the question is how much will it rise till it comes to rest, and therefore v is 0. U is given to us as u, and a is nothing but g sine theta plus mu cos theta with a minus sign because it's a downward acceleration, and what you need to find is s. If you solve this algebraically, you're going to get the answer, that is s is equal to u square upon 2g sine theta plus mu cos theta. So this is the distance a block will rise if it is projected up an inclined plane, and this is the distance it will cover before coming to a rest. Remember, in this case, since we were moving the block upwards, the friction was downwards. I hope you understood this question that we have solved based on the equation of motion for an inclined plane. If you like this video, please subscribe.